All right, I think we are live. What is going on, everybody? This is Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, with another Saturday edition of the Xbox 2 podcast. And with me, as always, is the one, the only Jez Corden of Windows Central. How's it going, buddy? How you doing today? All right.
Hell yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Uh,
I've got pizza, so I'm in a better mood now than I was earlier.
Yeah, you have pizza, which is so awesome. But unfortunately, you said it was pineapple pizza or pineapple on pizza, which is absolutely disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourself, sir, for ruining an amazing pizza. Like, seriously.
It's Hawaiian pizza. Isn't that like American pizza? Hawaii's in America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I actually had pizza last week for my birthday. I cheated on my diet a little bit, so I'm allowed because it was my birthday last week. But you know what, guys? I will have to say, we're gonna have to cheer up Jez a little bit today. He's not in the best of moods, so write some good comments, some comments that'll make Jez smile, or send him a little DM, a little tweet. Give him a hug. He's not feeling his best because you still have those stomach problems, right?
Yeah, man. Actually, my stomach problems actually got a little bit better today. They gave me some new medicine, and I'm just hoping it's not something more serious, But it's been 2 months now in pain for 2 months. That's not normal, as far as I'm aware. I'm not a medical professional, but 2 months of stomach pain doesn't seem normal to me. So, I get some tests back next week, so hopefully I can find out a bit more about what's going on. But man, I'll be so pissed if I die before Cyberpunk comes out. So pissed.
Yeah, you have mentioned that before, that it would surely not be good. It would suck if you actually weren't able to play Cyberpunk before you passed away. I remember talking to you about that. So
I will haunt someone. If that happens.
You wouldn't haunt me, would you?
Maybe not.
Hopefully you get that finally figured out. If you were here in America, it would probably cost you an arm and a leg to get that figured out, right? Because of our healthcare.
Yeah, probably.
Although maybe you would have good healthcare because you probably were working for IGN, right?
Actually, I think future US does have a healthcare plan for our employees in there. But yeah, I don't know how it works. I mean, for me, healthcare is literally just call the doctor, and that's it. Don't have to worry about anything else, like money and stuff like that. And for that, I feel truly blessed. Thank you, NHS, and everyone who works there.
Yeah. Bigger question. Will you find out what's wrong with you before we get pricing for PS5 and Series X?
Oh, man. I think, we won't know the pricing for the PlayStation and Xbox Series X until civilization has already crumbled into dust. And maybe archaeologists thousands of years in the future will discover the price from the ruins of Microsoft headquarters in the rubble.
I still can't believe we're at September 5th. Like 2 months away from essentially Series X launching. And, well, people are still going on. I get DMs every single day about people asking me what I think the price is going to be. And I've, for I don't know, since 2018, or maybe it was when you originally reported on the two system SKU that they were going with, the Anaconda and Lockhart. Yeah. I've always kind of thought it was going to be $499 and $299, and I'm going to stick with that. And either I'm going to be 100% right, and I'll be vindicated, or I'll be completely wrong, and the system's going to be $600. But I don't know. I have a good feeling about my initial predictions about the price point. It's a little bit frustrating because I think it's a little bit different how people. I think people get addicted to the hype cycle of the consoles, and because there really isn't that much of a hype cycle as much as in the past. People are going through what would be the best way to describe it? Withdrawals, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I was literally talking to someone about this yesterday, and how there's a sort of expectation about how a console launch should be, and because of COVID, and also because generations are kind of blurring together now. Like Xbox is basically fully backwards compatible. It's running the same architecture essentially as Xbox One X with some upgrades. It runs the same development environment, ERA. It's almost like more like the One X launch than a new generation launch. And there's not really any games that so far showcase what next gen will be capable of in terms of ray tracing or ridiculous frame rates and stuff like that, except for Gears 5, I guess, which is an older game. So it does feel like a different console generation launch, but I think this is how it's going to be moving forward, to be honest. But that's okay. It's okay. It means the industry is maturing.
Yeah, I mean, Apple and Samsung can announce like what phones a month before they come out with price, and everybody's perfectly acceptable with that. Hell, NVIDIA just did the same with their 3000 series cards, right? They just
a lot of hype for those.
Yeah, they just did their show one day and was like, by the way, here are the 3 cards, here are the prices on the 3 cards, and essentially 2 of them come out in like what, a couple weeks, right? That's pretty much it, and it's like. Yeah. They didn't need to do the full year hype cycle like Xbox did, or half a year hype cycle that PlayStation has done. And they were just like, here's the product and here's the price, and it comes out real soon. And people are like, yes, sir. So maybe it is just that. Maybe the people being annoyed with the lack of information regarding next gen won't really matter in the long run, because whenever they do give prices, the systems will be out in a matter of a month or two, essentially.
There's almost a nostalgia associated with it, like the queues, people lining up, and the Microsoft and Sony getting celebrities involved to do these like red carpet launches and stuff like that. They don't do that for graphics cards. They don't do that for phones anymore. They don't do it for like the Galaxy Note and all these other electronics. I think it's just a case of like the console industry sort of growing up a bit. Yeah. And yeah, if you're into the nostalgia of like what a console generation launch would feel like, I remember people were freaking out that the Xbox Series X didn't have its own dashboard. It's going to have the same dashboard essentially that we've got right now on the Xbox One. Like, and people were mad about that, and I was like, well, if it works, what's the problem? And it's because it goes against that nostalgia of having a new dashboard, which is something that usually happens when you get a new console. Yeah. Even if like it's a worse dashboard, at least it'd be a new dashboard.
I mean, people forget like how horrible the Xbox One dashboard was when we got it November 2013, right? Like you had the OG Xbox and how that looked. You had all the iterations on the 360 dashboard, which I still think had the best iteration of the guide. And then you had the Xbox One with how it looked and how much it's changed from 2013 to now. And since they spend a lot of time tweaking it and fixing it with the Insider program, like we kind of knew, man, they're doing a lot of these features, they're doing a lot of these fixes. There's no way they're going to be building another new dashboard for Series X. It's like the dashboard's just going to be exactly what we're testing, and that ended up being the case. So, yeah, it's just kind of subverting people's expectations. Like, everything's supposed to be new, and it's supposed to be this long, hype cycle with these prices given out at a certain point. And because it's not happening, whether, for reasons of, the pandemic going on in the world, which I'm sure has 100% impacted, plans of both companies, I think some people miss that. And they miss...
I keep hearing people say they should delay the launch. They should delay the launch. I'm like, why? Like, why delay it? Like, if the hardware's done, just launch it. It's not going to change anything if they delay it. It's not going to make the hype. Like, people literally want it to be delayed so they can have a better hype cycle for it. Like, I literally can't think of another reason for it.
No, I mean you're right on that one, because like the production train is moving, right? It's producing so many units a day. Those units need to, be stored somewhere. Then they need to be shipped off whenever they need to be shipped off to sold. If you were to if you were to delay the console X amount of months, then what do you do to production? Do you halt production? Like all these contracts have been in place, and these production lines are supposed to run as smooth as possible. So I think it's like what Phil said in an interview with IGN. It's like the hardware would be ready. It's the problem's the software. The hardware is going to be good to go. They're probably going to have a decent amount of units ready. I'm sure there'll be some people that won't be able to get one, whether it's the PlayStation 5 or Series X, based on demand or based on how many units are actually put out there. But, you can always obviously wait until a couple months later. Like, I didn't get the 360 right away. Like, even though I camped out. I didn't really camp out, but like I went to a bunch of different places on day one. I wasn't able to get the 360 until about January, so a couple months after it came out. So yeah, I do expect this launch to be a little bit limited, maybe in comparison to the Xbox One or the PS4 launch, but I still think there'll be plenty of units to go around. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Mr. Joanna Dark has a nice comment for us, Jez. He says, just want to say I love the show. I enjoy your thoughts and insights about the gaming industry and Xbox. Jez, got a Note 20 Ultra and I'm loving it.
Hell yeah, I got mine too. Damn nice phone. The camera is just... The zoom on the camera is just sick.
Yeah,
Takes me back to the Lumia 1020 days. Except now it's an actual octa-core processor, not a dual-core processor.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us on Saturday. It's obviously my fault this time. We're doing the podcast on a different day. The funny story. So what happened was I went to take a shower. What day was that? Thursday. I went to take a shower on Thursday. Turned on the shower. Waited a couple minutes for it to warm up. And what would you know? Never warmed up. Completely just cold as F, dude. Right? And I was sitting there, I'm like, no, the hot water heater is dead. I'm like, oh my God. So of course, take a really, really cold water. I haven't taken a really, really cold shower in a long time, and my God, like I was like in there and I was out of there so fast. So yeah, yesterday we had the hot water heater. We had the repairman come, and he had to replace the whole thing. So he had to remove the old one and basically put in a new one. And where the hot water heater is basically 10 feet away from where my setup is for the PC. So there was a lot of noise. And yeah, so there was no way we were going to be able to do a podcast with all the noise going on. So that's why it is, that's why we're doing it on Saturday. So sorry about that. Although some people do like we do it on Saturday, but I prefer Fridays just in case we have an issue on Friday. We can always do it on Saturday, because if we do the podcast Saturday and we can't do it, then it's Sunday and it's just like so.
Yeah, Saturday is like the backup day. Yeah.
Yeah, so we appreciate everyone being here on Saturday. If you guys could do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe button, but really important, you guys hit the share button. Let people know we're live. YouTube does a crap job at letting people, notifying people that the podcast is live. We have a lot to talk about. Xbox's September event, Xbox Series X leaking and all this stuff. Like, I don't. They just need to announce the system at this point. I mean, they've leaked it themselves. A whole bunch of other topics, and I finished Marvel Avengers, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. I did see that on Metacritic, it's sitting at a nice 70 on Xbox and like a 73 on PlayStation. We'll see if my thoughts align with that. But yeah, before we get into the big topics of the show, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. Jez, tell me a game you've been playing. We'll go a little back and forth. You tell me a game, I'll tell you a game, back and forth. So what have you been playing?
Remnant from the Ashes.
Oh, I played that game with my buddy Gopher and Magic not that long ago. It was kind of cool. It was a janky game, Dark Soulsian shooter, but it was fun.
Yeah, like there are aspects of it that are janky, like the animations, the facial animations, some of the voice acting is woo. And but I feel like they really nailed the shooting. Like the guns feel really precise and fun to use, especially when you're hitting weak points. The bosses are cool. I think the itemization is cool. I don't have a clue what's going on in the game. Like I don't understand the lore and stuff like that. But as a sort of loot based shooter, I find it way more interesting than Destiny. I find it way more interesting than Borderlands, even though it is kind of you can feel the budget, you know. But I'm really excited for that franchise. I think like they'd be crazy not to do another one and sort of build on it and reinvest in it. It's made by the developers of Darksiders, published by Perfect World. Um, who, you know, they're not the biggest publisher out there, but if I was them, I would reinvest hard in that franchise because I think it's got a lot of potential. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I streamed it with Miles earlier on Windows Central Gaming channel, starting to get back into game streaming now. So if any of you guys watching were there, shout out and thanks for joining us on our first test stream. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to put some clips up on Twitter later. What else have I been playing? It's been a busy week. There's actually one game I've been playing that I can't really talk about. I've been playing Peril on Gorgon.
That's the what, Outer
Worlds DLC, yeah. I think it's Peril on Gorgon, which is an asteroid. I can sort of talk about the first hour of it. So basically in Peril of Gorgon, or is it on Gorgon? I can't remember. But basically, you're on your ship and someone mails you a severed arm with an audio file attached to it. And it sort of kickstarts a mystery about where the hell did this arm come from. And then there's like this eccentric billionaire wants you to do a job for them. And it's sort of like a murder mystery sort of thing. You trace back the steps of this murdered dude to this asteroid, Gorgon. And then you sort of unravel some sort of, you know, corporate conspiracy cover-up sort of thing. You know, it's a great excuse to go back to the Outer Worlds. I don't know how long it is just yet, but I'm playing through it and I'm going to review it next week. But also, I've been playing Pillars of Eternity because I don't know if I told you this, Rand, but I lost my 70-hour save.
You lost? How'd you lose a 70-hour save?
Well, it turns out that even though Xbox has cloud saves by default, Xbox Game Pass for PC doesn't. So because I just assumed that all Xbox games, if I have to sign in to a game with my Xbox Live account, it should have cloud saves. But Pillars of Eternity on Xbox Game Pass doesn't. And it's not really obvious when you go into that Xbox Game Pass for PC app, whether it has cloud saves or not. It's sort of there in the small print, if you can find it. And I obviously found out the hard way that Xbox Game Pass for PC doesn't have pervasive cloud saves. So I've had to start over from the beginning. I don't mind doing it because I made loads of mistakes in my first playthrough and I can make more efficient characters and stuff like that and maybe try some of the other decisions. I've already tried like choosing different paths through the game. Even like the very early quests, they're completely different things you can do based on your decisions in the story. Because you know, it's that kind of RPG. But yeah, losing 70-hour save file is, I think that's the worst save file loss I've ever endured.
That's a lot. So, yeah. I would never play the game again. If I lost 70 hours on a game, I would be completely done. I'd be like, well, you know what? I really enjoyed my time with this game, but moving on. I mean, you know, it's funny because there's games where, like, I tend to, once I kind of move away from a game, I don't go back. I haven't finished Witcher 3 yet, right? Because I forget what was going on at the time, but I have like 50 hours into Witcher 3, which is a lot. But something else happened, and I moved off of the game, and I just never went back to it. And I do want to go back to it because I do want to finish the game. But it's one of those things where I'd have to start over, which I tried. But it's like, I have a hard time replaying content where I know everything that's already happened. So I'm like, I have to play through 50 hours of Witcher again and to get to any of the new stuff. But like, for me, this is one of the reasons why I don't replay games a lot. Is like, I find replaying the same content that I just played not really enjoyable. And I know that's maybe weird. Maybe some people might agree with me. Maybe other people won't. But I like playing games like one time. Like a second time, it's just nowhere near as enjoyable. So I feel you. Like for me, if that happened, I'd be done. I'd be like, nope, done. And Kratopsy says, "What are your PG and Modern Warfare save files?" Well, I mean those, those aren't single player long campaigns. Those are just, I don't even know if they have like it's just stats on a server. Like, oh, I played this many hours and I played, I have this many amount of kills. But yeah, that sucks. 70 hours is a lot to lose.
It's weird though, because I'm like you. Usually, if that had happened with another game, I'd be like, I'm not going back to it. That's it. But with Pillars, I was enjoying it so much, and there's so much to take in, and the fact that you can like do different things, and I've made a different class, and I'm taking different decisions through the story, seeing like the other side. I don't mind. Like I've already put like another 15 hours in, and I'll probably get back to where I was in the story much quicker as well, because I actually know what I'm doing this time. So I don't mind. Like it's such a good game. Since Wasteland 3, man, I've been on such a CRPG kick. I think I'm just gonna play CRPGs and nothing else forever. But I am really enjoying Remnant from the Ashes as well. So I'm gonna be going through that with Miles. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing this week, man.
Awesome. So I played 2 games, and I'm going to tell you about one of them here first. But thanks to Rusty Ginger for the super chat. Appreciate that, man. I played a game on Steam called Among Us with my friends. Have you heard anything about this game? Because it's starting to kind of blow up in the streaming community. Like Shroud streaming it, and like a whole bunch of huge streamers. It's like an indie game that came out a couple years ago or something.
I don't know much about it.
So essentially, it's a game where you get your friends together, and it's really basic indie game. Like you can watch a trailer or videos of it, right? You're just like you play a character and you're on a spaceship or you're in a base and you got to complete tasks, right? Oh, I need to rewire the electrical stuff, right? And there's like everybody has a set of tasks to complete. And you can play the game with like a certain number of people, but the more the better. But within that group, so we were playing with like 7 people, but within that group of 7, there's one imposter whose job it is to sabotage what you're doing and kill off people, right? And the whole point of the game is, so while everybody's going off and completing their tasks, this one person who's the imposter, so think of it like the movie The Thing, is going around sabotaging, trying to kill everybody. And when the imposter kills somebody and another person discovers the body, they report it and you have a voting round, right? And this is, of course, where the honor system comes in, because you're not supposed to talk at all when you're playing the game. Everybody's just doing whatever. There's no communications. And then when voting happens, when there's a body that's discovered, everybody can talk except for the dead body. And you're essentially trying to figure out who the imposter is.
Wow.
So you vote them out.
What's this game called?
It's called Among Us.
Among Us?
Yeah. It's really, really cool. Like, I was a little bit... No, it's not on Xbox. It's only on PC at the moment. Like, I was a little bit, my buddies were like, hey, you should get on and play this. I was like, whatever. It's $5. I'm not expecting much. But we played it for like 2.5 hours, and it was a blast. Like, people were lying, right? Because, like, you could, like, essentially, like, you're the imposter. It's your job to essentially, it's like The Thing, right? You cast doubt and suspicion on somebody else, and you're like, oh, I think Sam did it, right? And everybody votes Sam off, and Sam was innocent, so they just killed off a regular person, right? It's a ton of fun, man. Like, check out some videos or some streamers playing it or something. Like, it is really a lot of fun. And then the more people you have, like, the more imposters you can have in a group. So if you have like 10 people, you can have 2 imposters to the 8 regular people. And it's just a really cool game. I think we're supposed to play it again tonight, so looking forward to that. But the other game I was playing, which I spent most of my time playing this week, is Marvel's Avengers. And my buddy Magic and my buddy Gopher have a bet on the Metacritic on this game. Gopher says it's going to be a 69 and below. Magic said it's going to be a 71 and above, and whoever loses has to watch a season of anime, right?
What? That's not a punishment.
Well,
That's
it depends
cool.
on the anime. I guess you have to watch, right? Because Gopher doesn't want to watch certain animes, and neither does Magic. So, my thoughts on Marvel Avengers. I enjoyed the campaign quite a bit. I finished it. I played it probably around 13 hours. The campaign was much better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I had heard all the complaints about the people playing the beta. Like, I didn't play the beta, so I had no point of reference for it. And then I started playing the campaign, and the campaign starts off really well. You play as, like, Kamala Khan, who I think is probably the best character in the game. And you kind of set up where what you've seen in a lot of the trailers is the A-Day, right? Where everything goes wrong, and there's the Golden Gate Bridge is being attacked, and then eventually, like, the huge calamity happens, and the city is kind of, tons of people die, and the city is basically destroyed, right? And then it skips to, like, 5 years later, and you play as Kamala trying to get the Avengers back. Like, I'm not going to spoil the story for anybody. You basically go along and you essentially bring the Avengers back by recruiting them, etc. And for the beginning of the campaign, I thought it was great. It was very much a story-driven, linear-focused game. I like Kamala's moves, and that's the other thing they did really well in this game was each of the characters, like Kamala, Tony Stark, or Black Widow, Hulk, they all play differently from one another, and their skill trees are, even though they're similar, they're very different. So when you play as Kamala, it's a very different experience than playing from Iron Man, which is a different experience from playing from Hulk. So they did a fantastic job of making each character feel unique. So kudos to Crystal Dynamics for that. The problem is that eventually the campaign starts incorporating elements of the live service, shall we speak, right? So in the beginning of the campaign, like I mentioned, there's these really well-crafted levels that have some great cinematics, some great storytelling. And then it opens up a little bit after you get Tony Stark, and it starts incorporating these levels that are just horribly made. There's kind of just, hey, you go to this area, and it's kind of open, and there's just stuff everywhere. And when you press up on the D-pad to get your objectives, there's like question marks everywhere. Those are the multiplayer levels. There's like chests you got to pick up everywhere, which kind of slows it down. And for some reason, and this might be one of the biggest WTF moments I've ever seen, is that the gear you pick up from these chests or that drop from the enemies, and most of the time, Jez, the gear that you pick up is from the chests. They don't change. It doesn't change how you look. So the game's all about eventually, like, leveling up your character, right? Increasing the power level of your character by getting better gear. I think there's like 4 gear slots, like one for your head, one for your chest, one for your arms, essentially, right? But every new one you get, it doesn't change how it looks, which I think is pretty weird for a game like this. Like, this game wants to be Destiny at its core, but it doesn't have the cosmetic stuff.
Right. So I get a new piece of gear. And he looks the same.
It's exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the stat bonuses associated with it, yeah.
Wow.
Because the cosmetics are tied to the costumes, which have a different a different way to buy them and a different way to make them. It is completely weird in that regard, right? So yeah, the gear is essentially meaningless. It only exists to level you up and have you spending time going around this poorly designed maps. Like, each one of these maps are just poorly designed because the multiplayer maps, they're all essentially like stages. You have this point you go to, and you got to go over there, and you got to kill an enemy. And then you go to the next part, and it's like, you got to destroy these 4 things. Or you go to the next point, and it's like, capture the zone. You stand in the zone. And they're all essential, like, remixes of that. Like, I hate those kind of multiplayer levels. And they threw a bunch of those in the campaign. But then there are campaign levels, which are a lot of set pieces on it. So it's like the campaign is really good outside of the levels that are multiplayer focused. And the problem is like I'm not interested in any of the after game stuff, like in the live service or the games as a service stuff afterwards. Like I already know after I beat the game already, I'm never playing this game again because I'm just not interested in playing all those random missions to grind out gear to get all the resources needed for the different things so I can buy different stuff from different factions and level up to different factions so I can buy higher gear, etc., rinse and repeat. And it's funny because like each character has their own battle pass, which is free, but I guess it's paid for in the free characters coming, which you need to complete certain challenges with those characters. But like you earn XP only with the character you're using. So when you go through the campaign, you're not going to be really high leveled with any of the characters except for maybe one. So after you beat the game, you're going to have to focus on one character. And you're going to have to grind out, do all these different missions, team up with people, and max that character out. But then your other characters aren't going to be leveled up at all. And then it's just rinse and repeat with each one of the characters if that's how you want to do it. And like I am just not interested in doing that with any of the characters because the game isn't good enough. Maybe it will be a year from now. Like there's a good, solid foundation here for something that could be fantastic down the road. I don't think they have it nailed yet. And I'm not sure I would like if you're looking for the next game to spend 1,000 hours in and you love this type of mindless, I'm just going to play a mission, I'm going to go around beating people up with Black Widow, I love getting these little stat bonuses, increasing my character, then maybe this is the game for you. It's definitely very much like Destiny, but nowhere near as good as Destiny, right? And that's coming from someone who's not a fan of Destiny. Then maybe for you, if you're just interested in playing the campaign like I was, I'd probably give the game a 7.5 for the campaign. I was at like an 8. Like, in the beginning of the campaign and the end of the campaign, I thought were really good. I was like, man, if the whole game was like this, it would definitely be an 8, maybe an 8.5 just for the campaign. But they throw in too many of these kind of just multiplayer missions that are just horribly designed and paced. And eventually, I just kind of got sick of exploring, trying to find the boxes because they weren't really, anything in them were worth a damn. And yeah, so I finished the campaign. It took roughly, I would say 13 hours, which is a decent length, I would say. But I don't know if I could recommend it just for the campaign. So my current score for the game is like a 7.5. There's potential there for sure. And maybe after they add the DLC characters and maybe change how some of the cosmetic stuff and the gear and the resources, because some of the resources you get, there's not a lot. Like I barely spent any resources. Like the fragments you get from all these boxes spread out in the campaign, I don't think I spent any of them, and I only had 1,600 when I finished. And that really could only get me a couple items from the weapon vendors. And there's different weapon vendors. There's like one on the one side for shield and one on the other faction, which you need to level up individually so you can actually buy higher gear, which it's totally set up like Destiny like that, man. It's like, yeah, here's the campaign, and it gives you a nice, well-told story, and some of it's really good, and some of it's not. But then there's this whole other aspect of like the co-op multiplayer games of service stuff, which is not interesting whatsoever to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big Marvel fan at all. Like, I watched Iron Man 2 yesterday for the first time, by the way, which is an okay movie. But like, I just don't get excited about the Marvel universe like some other people do. And then you couple that with the fact that it's games as a service, which I just don't have time for really. And there aren't many games that do it well. Like basically, whenever I play any games as a service game, I always compare it to World of Warcraft. And it's not really a fair comparison because World of Warcraft has like this subscription, which has a constant revenue stream, which means they can do these like massive patches every few months, which keeps the game fresh. No other game can compete with that. Like Destiny's updates are just pathetic compared to World of Warcraft, and Marvel Avengers updates are going to be pathetic compared to World of Warcraft. So I just can't get into any of these other games. So I'll probably just skip it. But you know, it is what it is.
I will say, with all that said, I wasn't expecting much from this game. Like, watching all the previews, I thought it would just... I didn't think it was going to be any good. So I will say that the campaign surprised me in a way that I wasn't expecting. Like, I thought it was a lot better than I expected it to be. There are elements of the campaign that I really enjoyed. Like, honest to God, there's some really good moments during the campaign, but they're equally off-putting by some of those missions where you just get into it and you're just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I getting this gear that doesn't change how I look, that are just a couple stat bonuses higher? Like, it just... That is like the biggest W, what the F moment for me. It's like, you're constantly getting all this gear, but it doesn't change how you look whatsoever. And then the cosmetics, which do change how you look, well, they have a different way of, getting them, right? Which, of course, are expensive. Like, the resources that you get, they're not very plentiful. But hey, you can buy, I forget what it is or what they call it. You can buy, they have different bundles where you can buy it with real money. And then you can buy anything you want, essentially. But yeah, none of that was interested in me. Like, I knew halfway through the game, I was like, once I beat the campaign, I'm never playing this again. So, that's my thoughts on Marvel.
What's Kamala Khan's superpower, by the way?
What?
What's Kamala's superpower?
She can, like, she basically can get super huge. She got, like, stretchy arms. And, after playing... So after playing through with all the characters, she's definitely my favorite. I think she's the star of the show. I love her moveset. Well, she's also the one I had the most upgraded points into with the different abilities. So I would rank each of the characters. Like, surprisingly, I think Iron Man is absolutely horrible in this game. Like, I think his moveset is terrible. Like, when you get to play as Iron Man, I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. And he's voiced by Nolan North, right? Uncharted, Fame, basically a lot of video games. I don't think he does a good job. I think he's the worst out of all the voice actors. Because every time I listen to him, I just think it's Nathan Drake. And he tries to does the swarmy, like, cocky sort of stuff. And I'm just like, no, like, you missed it. Troy Baker does Bruce Banner. And he is better than Nolan North, for sure. But, like, I'm listening to that, I'm like, that's Troy Baker. It's really tough to, like... Yeah, it's Bruce Banner, but it's Troy Baker. I believe Black Widow is voiced by Kate from Gears, or Abby from Last of Us Part 2. I forget her name. Laura Bailey, I believe. Right? So all the big voice actors are in the game. So I think Kamala Khan's the best. Her moveset, her voice actress, she's in the game a lot. A lot of the ways, this is her game. Even though it's an Avengers game, the focus is really on Kamala Khan. Tony Stark by far, like playing as him, and the voice acting was just, he's by far the worst. Hulk is cool if you just want to just button mash and do a whole bunch of different stuff, but not really a fan of him. Surprisingly, I really liked playing as Black Widow, Kamala Khan, and Captain America. Although Captain America doesn't really have a lot of, it's really tough getting around as Captain America in a lot of places because a lot of verticality in this stuff to get up to certain points on the map, where Kamala can, like, use her stretchy arm to, like, grab onto anything and pull herself up, or jump really far. And the same thing with Black Widow. Like, she can, like, use her grapple hook, so it's easy to get up on certain places where Captain America really can't. So, and Thor is good, but he's better than Iron Man, but I don't know, like the flying and the hovering, I just wasn't a fan of in the game. So,
is there a Captain Britain?
No.
But you have Captain America, but why is there no Captain Britain? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Mr. Almighty Spartan God says, who's supposed to voice them? It's not that I have a problem with Troy Baker. I think Troy Baker is one of the best voice actors this gen. Sometimes it pulls me out of the game a little bit because it sounds so much like Troy Baker. Like when you play Last of Us Part 2 and you listen, well, maybe not 2, but Last of Us Part 1, and you listen to Joel, like even though maybe you know it's Troy Baker, it doesn't sound anything like Troy Baker normal voice. And maybe, and the same thing with like Tony Stark. It sounds just like Nolan North or just like Nathan Drake. Maybe I just would like them to modify their voices just a little bit so you don't know it's actually them. But maybe that's a me problem. Maybe because I played so many games with those two in it, and I just listened to it, and it's just like, yeah, this is Nolan North and Troy Baker. It's okay, but it's not great. And they've definitely done better voice acting, jobs before where they disguised their voice and done really well. Where this time it's just, it feels like Nolan North phoned this one in. To be honest, if I'm being truthful, it feels like he really phoned it in, and which is a shame. But Troy Baker does a better job, and I thought Black Widow's really not in the game that much, so I don't really have much to say about her. So, shout out to Wakanda Xbox News Today. He asked, "Hey Rand, did you see Project Acoustic's tweet?" I did not. Jazz, do you know anything about this?
I don't. Isn't that something to do with improving the audio on Xbox?
I think so. I
don't know. I didn't see it, but I'll check it out after the show. But Rand, I just want to quickly shout out my cousin Mia, who's listening to the podcast for the first time.
Shout out to Mia, is her name?
Mia.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Mia.
Rusty Ginger says, "Do you guys think we will get an event before TGS?" An event. Well, that's hard to classify. Event, whether it could be just I'm assuming you mean Xbox. I do think they'll reveal Series X or Series S before that. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, and I'll give my thoughts on if it'll be an event or just a video or whatever. Aquaman says, "Hey, can you get hacked on Xbox Live? I've heard recent stories of IP addresses getting exposed through game chat and messaging." Okay, that's an interesting question. So, I believe if you do join somebody's Xbox Live party, there's a possibility they could, because you're joining them, and I think it's a peer-to-peer connection, that they can grab your IP address, which I don't know if they could necessarily, they can't hack you, even if they know your IP address. So, they can maybe at worst, maybe DNS you or whatever. But I don't think they could steal your account. They would need to know your password, your login, and if you got two-factor on, they would essentially have to have your phone. I mean, I guess there's always there
are vulnerabilities on Xbox Live, but you just have to be diligent. Don't click on links in messages. You can lock down your profile so there's only your friends can message you, and also always have two-step verification on everything. Everything you use, stick two-step verification on. That's the best you can do, really. But I don't think any consumer-based system is completely hack-proof. But Xbox has proven to be one of the more robust services out there. So you just have to take your own steps and be careful what links you click on and who you speak to, and make sure you get two-step verification on. Yeah. Two-step verification is like a condom for your password, kind of.
I just also want to mention about Marvel Avengers. It does have on the X. It does have a 4K mode or a best performance or highest performance. I played it on highest performance, and while in the beginning of the game it was perfectly fine, when you get more of the Avengers with you and you go into those multiplayer missions where all 4 people are with you and there's just enemies everywhere, oh boy, there's a frame rate tank. Oh boy. It definitely does not maintain its 60 frames, and there's definitely times there where I noticed it definitely dropped into the 20s. It was really bad. And so this game needs that next gen upgrade. Because we know I believe they're utilizing smart delivery. on Xbox Series X, and you get a free version on the PlayStation. It'd definitely be most welcomed if they, with the new systems and and all the power that comes with it, if that game can run at a locked frame rate, whatever, if it's like 4K 60, because the more you played that game, the bigger the battles are. There's definitely noticeable frame rate drops in the highest performance. So I just wanted to mention that. Tihama 1979 says they can DDoS you from Xbox Party Chat. That is true. If they have the software to do it and you're joining their party, they probably can do that. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the games we've been playing. So if you guys enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share it out on Twitter, because we're about to talk about the topics now. And the first one, we're going to talk about The Witcher 3, because Witcher and CD Projekt Red are showing all these publishers exactly how to do it right. They announced a couple days ago that The Witcher 3 will be receiving a next-gen upgrade on PlayStation 5 and Series X, as well as PC, that utilizes like ray tracing and faster loading, and it's going to be completely free for everybody. Like, if you own the game on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, you'll get the upgrade for free, and they'll be selling it obviously standalone as well. And this is why people love CD Projekt Red, because they do these very pro-consumer moves. You don't have to buy the game again, and it basically just puts more pressure on, these publishers like EA that are doing timed upgrades, or somebody like Activision who's doing their version of it with Call of Duty, or what 2K is doing with NBA 2K, where you gotta spend $100. But probably this really puts a lot of more eyes on Remedy and what they're doing with Control and 505 Games, where it's like, oh, we couldn't figure it out, guys. Every avenue we tried, there was just somebody getting left behind, so you're going to have to buy this new edition of the game that didn't exist when it came out if you want to get the free upgrade. And here's Witcher, and here's CD Projekt Red just being, you know what? Everybody gets a free upgrade if you already bought the game. How's that? Man, it really just shows how amazing CD Projekt Red is and how greedy some of these other companies are. What do you think, Jez?
Yeah, it's it's interesting because, 505 is the obvious one with charging for upgrade for Control. Not only charging for the upgrade for Control, but also making you rebuy the base game for Control if you want to get that upgrade. That's probably the most egregious upgrade path that we've seen so far. Like, that's even beyond Activision and beyond EA. And not only that, Rand, but my good buddy on Twitter, I'm just getting his tweet up here. Well, basically, one of my friends, Jared, he recently noticed that he criticized 505 for what they were doing, and they blocked him on Twitter. It wasn't rude. He just questioned their practices, and they blocked him. So 505 definitely seemed like they're in a corner with all this stuff. And man, it's just kind of, it's just weird, There are complexities and nuances to this, kind of especially with Control. The fact that it came out more recently kind of puts a wrench in the works in terms of, contracts and publisher deals, and also retailers and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit easier when it's an older game. And I think you'll see more older games doing that than games that came out during the transition to next gen. But it's man, it's not a good look. Especially when they try and spin it in a certain way and they're not transparent about the reasons they're doing it, which is ultimately money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is.
Yep, I mean, I didn't really think they'd upgrade Witcher anyways. I But it's pretty cool that there is, and I don't know. I always think every time this happens, like I'll replay Witcher on the One X with the 60 frames, and then it was like but I got to go through the 50 hours of the game that I already played, and that's what's really putting me off of it. I know there's probably a lot of great content, and I haven't played the 2 expansions, but I want to beat the game first. But it's really tough for me to go to play through 50 hours of a game I already played. So, Ubisoft says that that PlayStation isn't going to have back compat for PS1, PS2, and PS3 titles, and that it'll have select titles will be back compat on the PS4. Everybody kind of went with the news, and Ubisoft deleted it afterwards. I don't. Does this really kind of put the kibosh on the rumors that Sony was going to have full backwards compatibility on the PS5, Jez? I mean, this is pretty much.
If that was going to happen, we'd already know, and Sony would have announced it because that'd be a really cool feature. So it just turned out to be another one of the fake rumors from, the fake insider contingent who, turned their wishful thinking into rumors because boredom, I guess, and it just, another fake one. What was more interesting to me was that the whole select PS4 games, because I've had people on Twitter swear blind to me that every single PS4 game will be backwards compatible on the PlayStation 5, but I can't find a single shred of evidence that is confirmed. Is that confirmed, Rand?
I mean, they did say, not at launch, but they did say that eventually the PS5 will play the majority of the 4,000 games on the system. So that means at any point between when it launches and when it, whenever it goes away, whenever they stop making it, that
in 5 years.
At least that's what they're saying. That a lot of the 4,000 games said they'll work, but we're only just going off information that Mark Cerny said. You have some of these guys that make up a lot of bullshit, and they know. It's funny because a lot of these guys either they're getting played from whoever they trust, and they constantly say stuff, and they're just wrong all the time, and yet people believe him because, he talks positively about PlayStation. So either one, they're getting played by the people that they think are truthful, but once somebody, I have people that tell me stuff all the time, constantly come to me with information about things like, I heard from this or I heard from that, blah, 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 blah. And all it takes is just one thing. It was funny because I got a DM probably, what was this, a month ago, right? That I didn't share in public. But I know this person had sent this same DM to Dealer and to Colt, right? And it was this person pretending to be someone at Xbox PR, right? And they were so upset that Microsoft was taking all this hate for their July show, and they didn't want that to happen. Because they knew there was an August show, and because of that, they leaked me the entire August show. I think I showed you this, didn't I, Jez? I sent you the screenshots of this conversation I had with this person. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
And remember when I sent it to you, and your response was like, "This is the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever seen." It was like Microsoft buys these studios from Warner Brother Games and all these different announcements, and it was just it had timestamps of when in the video it would, or in the stream it would happen. It was just all this stupid stuff, and this person was pretending, legit pretending, that they were Xbox PR, and they sent the same thing to Dealer and Colt, and we were just like, what? No, this isn't true, right? And because obviously it wasn't true, I'm not going to pay attention to that person, right? So it's one strike, you're done. So I get all this information from all these different people, and then once a certain thing turns out to not be true, I never listen to that person again. But there are definitely people there's definitely people on YouTube that constantly get things wrong and just make stuff up, and they never their fans still listen to them, right? And this other one was about this back compat stuff. Like, I don't know how long I heard about this, like, PlayStation 5, like legacy engine or whatever, and it was just like, it never made much sense to me for the PlayStation 5 to be back compat with, like, the PS3. Like, I get maybe the PS1 or PS2, but, like, it was like, there's no way it's going to be back compat with the PS3. And yeah, it turns out that's not the case. Like, Ubisoft is just like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
If they do it, they'll do it via PlayStation Now. You know, it's there's huge licensing issues, you know, but there's loads of classic PlayStation 2 games I'd love to experience, like Shadow Hearts and God, you know, man, just so many games. I always think about Shadow Hearts when I think about games that I want to play again, but I can't because my PlayStation 2 is broken. You know, Silent Hill 2 and stuff like that. And yeah, I know they released the Silent Hill 2 collection, but come on, it's kind of janky, and the mist is bugged and all that sort of stuff. So playing the original would be preferable somehow. I would totally subscribe to PlayStation Now if it had like more of these classics. But like, look at the PlayStation Now library. Like, it's pretty bad, frankly.
I mean, they got a lot of games on there. There's like 800. I mean, they got a whole bunch of PS3 and PS2 games, and they have more PS4 games than Game Pass has Xbox One games. It's just, I think it's lacking the new releases, which really separates it from Game Pass. Like, I think, because I think when it comes to gaming, I think it's all about new releases and less about like the catalog. You know, nobody's really, I don't think anybody's really interested in playing a 360 game or signing up for a subscription service to play a PS3 game at this point. So, Jez, Nintendo, I saw a tweet from you. I saw a tweet, like, so what happened?
I'm already annoyed.
Nintendo shadow dropped a direct, which was all about Mario, right? So I was up at the time, and I figured I'd watch it. What do we got here? And I'm watching this thing, and honestly, I didn't get excited. I didn't hate it. I just watching this is like, I don't care about any of this stuff. But man, some of the Nintendo's business practices really doesn't sit well with a lot of people. And one, you, Jazz, you really didn't like it. So explain what's going on here and why it pissed you off so much.
Man, I just can't believe the bullshit that Nintendo can get away with, and the crap that its fan base put up with. You know, it's just, it blows my mind. And I'm someone who, like, I got a Switch, and I've spent quite a lot of money on the Switch console, you know. And I was like, you know, the whole Pokédex gate and all that sort of stuff, and just repeated disappointments from Nintendo. But this is just like the kind of manipulative, crappy, capitalist bullshit that just sort of grated me the wrong way. Like, who does Nintendo think it is to try and manipulate people and manipulate established purchasing practices that go back literally decades, because it just thinks, oh, we're Nintendo, we can do whatever the fuck we like. So like, what Nintendo are doing they are doing a limited edition launch for a digital game, which is just ridiculous. So like, fair enough if it's physical editions, fair enough, because you have to print those discs and you have to, you know, get them onto store shelves and take up shelf space, and fair enough, you know, you could almost argue for the case for a physical disc to be a limited edition. But digital edition, so this Mario 3D collection is a limited edition game. You can only purchase it digitally until March 2021 to artificially inflate demand for this sort of product and create this sort of sense that, like, you have to buy it. But sure enough, it's already topping the charts and the pre-orders are going crazy. But I just think it's so manipulative and so scummy, and it really, my respect for Nintendo is pretty low already, just because of how crappy Nintendo Online is and how, like, lazy their systems are and you know, the fact that like Pokemon doesn't even have cloud saves is just like, it cracks me up. Then they sell you the cloud saves as a subscription service specifically for that one game. I just think they're a scummy company, and they think they can get away with it because they're Nintendo, and they can get away with it because they're Nintendo. And I just lost a lot of respect for them over that. But yeah, that's my rant about Nintendo.
So the 3D All Stars is basically they're putting together a package of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and what was the Super Mario Galaxy. Now, yeah. I saw a lot of people like, oh man, can't wait to replay this. And I was just like, aren't you some of the same people that said you don't really get excited for playing the old games? But regardless, who the hell would want to replay Super Mario Sunshine? Like, that game is awful. Like, I get maybe, oh, I want to replay Super Mario Brothers, the original, or Super Mario Brothers 3 or whatever. Maybe even Super Mario 64 and Galaxy to a certain extent, because Galaxy is supposed to be really good. But Sunshine? And not only that, like you said, okay, physical limited stock, I understand that, whatever. But limited stock or availability on a digital edition? Like, excuse me? Like, the point of digital is that you never run out. That's the whole point. Now, I guess maybe they mean the bundle, where it's like 3D All-Stars in a bundle of 3, and then in like 6 months when it's up, they just sell the games individually for more money, you know? So it's like you're getting a deal with the combined in 3, and then afterwards they'll just sell the 3 by themselves. And that would be how it's limited stock. I don't really know.
Even that, it's digital, and they can afford to sell them cheap for less in a bundle, and then they want to sell you them again at a markup after March arbitrarily. That's scummy too. They don't need to be so scummy.
What'd you think of that like racetrack game, that Mario Kart game with I believe each one of those cars is $150? The little go-kart things.
What is that? I didn't see that one.
There was like the Mario Kart game with actual like remote controlled cars that had cameras on them, so you could play it. You could drive. You like use the Switch and you're racing the cars, but the cars are actually real and you're racing them around your like living room.
Dude, I didn't even see that.
You didn't even see that?
Oh,
that's cool, but man, that like one car, like just one of those is $150. So there's like 2 of them, I think, with Luigi or whatever. It was so 300, and so it's like a real car that you're racing because they're remote controlled, and it's like you're using the Switch, and it has like augmented reality because it will show like power ups in its path and stuff. I at least thought that was a smart idea. Who knows if people will actually, buy it or whatever. Chase said also Super Mario 32 is also limited for Nintendo Online. Yeah, that was at like Super Mario Battle Royale mode where you play the original against 32 people and like you destroy turtles and they get sent to other people. But that was also just limited. Like in 5 months, it's gone. It's a weird, like, I don't understand that. Like, that's a very weird business decision. I guess people are going to be like, I need to jump on this immediately and buy it because at some point it's going to go away. Definitely weird business decision there from Nintendo, but it's good stuff.
And then all of a sudden you're looking at like a $1,500 system, if not more, just for RTX 3070. But I do want to say that, to be fair to NVIDIA, they are incredible graphics cards. Like the fact that the 370 is $499 and faster than a 2080 Ti for like a fraction of the price. That is killer, man. That is just unprecedented. Like, I think that's more than any PC gamer could have hoped for. But on the flip side, I don't think it's going to make everyone rush out and suddenly become PC gamer. If you're a PlayStation fan or an Xbox fan, why wouldn't you have already been into PC gaming? It's not like, you couldn't buy a 2080 Ti system before and get like more juice than an Xbox One X.
What about somebody who just already has a PC and all they really got to buy is just a new graphics card for the same price?
Well, yeah, great. good for them, you know. But it's like I said earlier, a lot of people are probably looking at PSU upgrades as well, especially if they want the 390. But you know, it is what it is. Like a lot of people don't want the hassle of having to mess around with graphics cards and
Sure,
inside.
and I'm one of those people. Like I don't really care for PC gaming much, and I'd much rather just play in Series X and PS5. But I'm not going to begrudge anybody that wants to play on PC. Like if you want to play on PC and you want to spend the most amount of money to get the best experience, then hey, go for it, bro. The whole conversation like, oh, this card made the Series X or the PS5 just paperweights or obsolete just is this weird to me. Like PC always is going to have the best version of a game if you're willing to spend the money. And the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are mass market devices. Like it's everything put together for a price that they can, not take a bath in. So it's like for what you're going to be getting, assuming of course the Series X is $500 and the PlayStation 5 is $500, those are pretty goddamn powerful systems for the price that you're getting it. Of course, if you wanted to build something better, you can. You have that option. And I find it funny where everybody's like, well, I'm just going to... It's weird because in one breath they say Xbox has no games and Xbox's games are just trash. And then the other they say, I'm going to get a 3070 or 3080 so I can play all Xbox games on my PC. It's like, what is it? Are all their games trash, or are you building a new PC so you can play all their games on PC? And if you do, that's exactly what Microsoft wants you to do.
And if they do build a PC, they'll have to buy a Windows license, which...
Well, the Windows license isn't whatever, but it's just like if you're playing all those games, whether you're buying them on Steam or you're subscribing to Game Pass, like you're still a Microsoft customer in that regard.
Well, that's my point. They still have to... They still have to buy the games from Microsoft. They still have to buy the Windows license from Microsoft. It's like they think they're owning Microsoft by using a Microsoft system. These mental gymnastics, man. They give me a headache sometimes. But it's funny because I'm like on the extreme end of PC gaming in the sense that I want the convenience of a console, but I also probably play mostly on PC if you count World of Warcraft and CRPGs and stuff. But I also don't want the annoyance of having to deal with a desktop. So I buy laptops, I buy gaming laptops instead. That's like the closest thing to a console-like experience you can get is with a gaming laptop. So I just bought a Razer Blade 17 Pro with RTX 2070 and that's going to last me like at least a couple of years more, because like the laptop versions of those 3000 series cards are probably at least a year away. So the cool thing about gaming is that there's options for everyone, and if you want the convenience of console, and you got console. If you want a gaming laptop, you can get like a gaming laptop if you want to pay a premium. And then if you want the best of the best, you got to build that gaming PC. But then you have to put up with all the annoyance, the blue screens and driver problems, and man, like last week, not last week, the week before, when you remember I had those audio issues?
Yeah.
With the laptop because the driver the USB bus on my motherboard's fried. So yeah, and that's the downside of the laptop. I have to send the whole laptop back to get it repaired. But that's PC fun for you. Your bits break and then you have to get them replaced, and kind of like Legos. But that's part of the fun of a PC. That's part of the fun. It's like Lego for adults. Part of it break, you can slot something new in, and you can do all cool, crazy mods and get your RGB strip lights in there. And Robitech makes some cool PCs over on his YouTube channel. Give Roby a quick plug there. But
quick plug, yeah. Got to give a shout out to Retro Gamer becoming the newest member of the channel. He hit that join button, and he gets all those cool little emotes. So thank you, buddy, for all the support. I don't know. it's like the news is dry, right? We're still waiting on whatever PS5 event, people say. But then again, I don't know how true it is. Like, it's the same people that have been lying about a lot of stuff, that there's supposed to be an event on Wednesday, the 9th, but Sony didn't announce anything last week. And you think if it was a big event, they would have announced it the week before. So who knows if there really is an event on Wednesday. But it's just like, is it... I don't know, like, I didn't really think it was going to be news that the newest graphic cards by NVIDIA or AMD would blow away what the Series X and PS5 could do. Like, did anybody really think that was going to be unexpected? Because I certainly didn't.
I tell you what it is, man. It's like, it's because of the way the PC audience, the engaged PC audience, react to the way news is presented. If they, like when this was announced, I saw all the PC social channels, all the PC websites, like, PCgamer.com and stuff like that. They all had hot takes. They all had memes that were like, we're so much better than console. Like, they have to constantly pat themselves on the back and justify their investments in these systems. It's comedy to me, But that's them riding the wave of, PC master race attacking console. It's just the way it's always been, It's funny, man. But on the flip side of that, Rand, I do see the PC market growing more rapidly than the console market. And that's currently what the projections are.
Wait, you said the PC market's gonna... Is that what you said? The PC market's gonna grow more than the console market?
Yeah,
I
think so.
That's... I mean, it kind of... Well, the console market's kind of been stuck at about, what, 250 million for a couple generations at this point?
Yeah.
The PC market... Well, the PC market can't, like... Because you can essentially...
The thing is, right, the PC market's weird because you have to segment it between gaming hardware and commercial hardware. So, like, when you look at the whole industry of PC market, it's kind of flat. It's massive, but flat. But if you look at just the gaming segment by itself, the gaming segment is actually growing really rapidly, and it's growing faster than the commercial segment and the education sector and all that sort of stuff. So the PC gaming market's going to grow. And these NVIDIA cards are just going to help it. Like, those cards are just sick, man.
Yeah.
And hat tip to NVIDIA. It's gonna be fun seeing like how AMD respond.
Is anybody going to be getting the 3090? Like, spending $1,500 on that card? I'd be very curious. Anybody in chat number one, anybody in chat going to be getting any of these three cards? And if so, which one are you planning on getting? Because I totally get people getting the 3070 or the 3080. It's like $500 for one, $700 for other. Definitely last you years and years and years, right? With the high performance on those. But like, I'm kind of sitting there thinking, like, why would anybody spend $1,500 on a 3090 now when you could probably just wait a year or two and the price on that will come down? Like, I get spending the money right away for the 3070 and the 3080. But like, I just don't get why you would spend that type, unless you just literally had money to burn. With it, if so, hey, my super chat and my PayPal's right there in the description. If you got money to burn, send it my way. You know what I mean?
That's ultimately who those cards are for. They're for people who can burn money. Like the Razer Blade 17 Pro laptop. There's like, you can get one with a 2070S Max Q in it or whatever it's called, and then that's like $2,500. And then you can get one with a 2080 in it, and then it jumps up like $1,000. And it's like, I'll stick with the 2070. I mean, yeah, the 2080 version has a 4K display as well, but man, it's for people who can burn cash away, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about upgrading my PC. My PC has right now, I got a 1080 and I have an i7 7700K. Which I bought this PC 3 years ago. Like, I'm going to buy a new PC this year. And I've never built a PC. I'm not really good with that stuff. And I don't really have anyone around here that would, can come help build it. So I'll just buy a pre-build. But I'm probably going to get
Ran. You know what you should do?
what?
You should get Roby to build it.
I did think, but I haven't talked to Roby in a while. He's superstar now. He may not want to talk to me. You know what I mean?
Oh, nah, Roby will hook you up, man.
Yeah. I probably need to get a Ryzen, I believe, because the PC would be more for content creation, and probably, I don't know, 2080 in there. I have to see the prices, but like I don't game on my PC, so the 30 series, definitely not for me. But I get why people like. When I saw the price and what they can do, I'm like, yeah, a ton of PC gamers are going to be upgrading their rigs with this stuff. So
the best memes are the ones where like it was mocking people who'd like bought a 2080.
Oh yeah, the 2080. Yeah.
I almost did that. I was almost that guy. Do you remember? I almost bought a desktop rig last month.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did. Yeah.
Yeah. I had it spec'd out and I had it priced up and I had a quote for it. I was gonna get someone to build it, and I was just like, man, maybe I should just get a laptop because I'm still gonna travel when this coronavirus stuff's over, and I do think like laptop is just more better for me because of my lifestyle and traveling and stuff. So I ended up getting a laptop instead. Man, I'm so glad I did.
When does AMD reveal their cards and what those?
I don't know, but I know that like the AMD fanboys are quite quiet right now.
Weren't the PC community really pissed at NVIDIA before this though, or something?
Yeah, they were. They were pissed at them. Yeah.
Okay, so that all changed now because of this.
Yeah, they love them now.
Okay,
I love them.
Game Over Brian says, "Hey guys, love the podcast, even though not Xbox fanboy like you guys report the news." Well, thank you for the compliment and the super chat. Steven Boxy says, "How good will backwards compat auto HDR be? Will be. We don't know yet. If it will, how good HDR will be. What do you think, Jez? You think it'll be how? Because that's supposed to be like a standard feature almost, right?"
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I need to look into it, but if it's anything like the PlayStation 4 simulated HDR, I'm probably not going to be that impressed with it. But who knows, Like the PlayStation 4 had that like sort of fake HDR injector thing, but it doesn't look good as real HDR, so
I'm Jay Gott says the 3090 is what we call the Titan. The 3080 will get a TI version. Just do a little more research on the PC community and tech. Okay. I mean, I just went on NVIDIA's website and there was only a 3070, 3080, and 3090 with the prices. I didn't know. Did they announce a 3080 Ti version?
I don't think so.
I don't follow the PC stuff as much as I follow console stuff like Xbox and PlayStation. So I'm sorry. Like, this is why I don't talk about tech stuff that much in my videos or my channel, because I don't know anything about it. And I'm only talking
about it as well.
Well, the only reason I'm talking about it is because it was announced this week and all the comparisons. So forgive me if I don't know everything there is to know about PC gaming, because I don't. And this is probably the last time we talk about PC gaming and cards like this for a long time. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your new cards when it comes out. And I mean, I'm gonna enjoy my Series X. You guys can enjoy the 3080, and we'll all be happy. It'll be perfect, right? Alan Gray says, "What do you guys think of the PS5 official pre-order page? You put your PSN ID in, press go, and nothing happens. No info, no email from them, nothing. Just goes to a blank page that has a link to go back."
Maybe they're trying to gauge interest to some degree.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I did sign up for it because I do want to pre-order it, and I did exactly what he said. But I logged in and then, put my PSN ID in and it said, "Hey, we got it," or whatever. So I'm assuming like they know my email based on my PSN ID. But I'm not really worried that if I don't get it from them, because I would rather just buy it from Amazon or Best Buy anyways. And I'm assuming they're going to be selling them through Amazon and Best Buy if they want to sell as many as they possibly can. But I do think you're right, Jez. I do think they were kind of gauging how many people were really interested in getting the system, and if there's a ton of demand, I wonder if that really affects what they think they can price it at, right? Because you imagine if, like, just given a number, 10 million signed up for that thing, they must be thinking, holy crap, there's a lot of demand for this thing. Why bother selling it at X price point when we could sell it at X price point, right? Why bother selling it at $399 when we can sell it for $499 and essentially still sell the same amount of units? Well, why bother losing money? But maybe if it was like, oh, only 500,000 people signed up, they might be like, the demand for the PS5 is really low. Maybe we need to have another event sooner rather than later. Maybe show some more games or more features to get more people interested. It could be something like that.
I think most people probably aren't even aware of the PlayStation website or that they were even doing that. They're probably trying to gauge how much they could push through their own platform. Because obviously, if Sony are going to sell the consoles directly, that's potentially better margins than selling them through a distributor or a brick and mortar and stuff. So they're probably trying to figure out how much they could potentially push through their own store. Because Microsoft's going to do that, right? Microsoft's going to stock the Xbox Series X on the Microsoft Store, and they're going to push it through the Microsoft Store, and they're going to push Xbox All Access through the Microsoft Store, which is, goes towards better margins and potentially lower price, So maybe there's that aspect to consider about it. Man, I've been watching a lot of Shark Tank recently, Rand.
Mm-hmm.
Watching a lot of Shark Tank recently. So I'm all about that business now. I'm actually thinking about going to business school.
Ooh, you should.
I might do.
Let's see here. WB Games, not for sale, Jez. Not for sale. They basically came out and said they reversed their course, and they won't be selling them off, which makes a lot of sense because, as we said before, $4 billion is a lot of money. And especially if you can't get the licenses for some of their properties. So, yeah, I bet you EA, Xbox, and whoever else was interested was like, that's just too much. And now WB or AT&T is essentially saying like, oh, they're too valuable to sell, when in reality it was probably they couldn't get the type of money that they wanted, right?
Yeah, maybe there's that aspect of it, but like, didn't Warner Brothers have I think when they showed off like all the DC stuff, there was probably like people's reactions to that were fairly positive. Maybe they just saw that and thought, maybe there is something to this whole gaming thing after all.
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, we didn't see much of Suicide Squad, but Gotham Knights seemed to have a positive reaction. I think it's more. I think it's more. Nobody was willing to pay the price that they wanted, so they just came out and said, "Well, this is like, this is just we can't sell this because it's just too good." Like, you know what I mean? Just kind of like putting a like happy face on it. Because I mean, $4 billion is a lot.
My worry is that they're going to be like, okay, well, we haven't sold you guys, so no, you need to be more profitable. So microtransactions all over the place, blah, 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 service games, blah, 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 mobile games, blah, blah, blah. That's my concern. My concern is that AT&T, was it AT&T or Comcast? I can't even remember. AT&T.
I think it was AT&T. Yeah, it was AT&T.
I don't know. I get those American companies mixed up sometimes, but that's my worry, that they're gonna make them into sort of cash machines instead of good game machines. But I guess that's a lot of publishers nowadays.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see if Microsoft or Sony have any, eyes on any new targets now that WB's gone. I believe Tencent did finalize the purchase for Leu, and they got like a Warframe or whatever. That's the thing about like studio negotiations, is that number one, they take time and they could break down for whatever reason.
I didn't want Tencent to get Leu because I was holding out hope that Microsoft would pick up Splash Damage to be a second Gears studio.
Yeah, speaking of Gears, that's a good good segue. On Steam Database, people have discovered that a Gears 5 DLC has showed up, Jazz. And there were rumors earlier in the year that alongside of the launch with the Series X and the upgrade for Gears 5 running at 4K 60 and ray tracing, all the stuff that they'll do with the console, that there might be a single player story based DLC that would launch as well. So what do you think about this?
I have heard that maybe there is some kind of story DLC in the works for Gears. I thought maybe it was for Gears Tactics, because Gears Tactics, like XCOM, is a game that is very easy to build on in terms of because of the way it's laid out, right? You can easily like layer on like biomes and more units and stuff like that, and maybe throw in a few cutscenes here and there. And like that's why XCOM tends to get like these really massive DLCs, and other similar games get those kind of DLCs because it's easy to attach new content to that kind of tactics game. But maybe it is if Steam database is showing that, because I've seen some evidence of voice actors working with the coalition on new content. So if that's the case, then I presumed it might have been Gears Tactics related. But if Steam database is Gears 5 related, then yeah. But what I'm curious about is like how much of how beefy is it going to be? You know, is it just going to be like another like 3 hour like mini experience or something like that? Because I don't like DLCs that are really brief. I want them to at least be something that I can get my teeth into. I don't like brief games usually, especially like that are part of a much bigger experience. You know?
Yeah, I mean, plus how big can it be considering the game had just come out a year ago? Essentially a year ago this week, right? This weekend? I think it was like the 4th or whatever, or maybe it was
A year ago?
it was the 9th. It was 2019 when Gears 5 came out. So yeah,
Feels
how
like 10 years ago.
it feels like a long time, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean
It
you're
feels
right. Like, I
like
mean even Spider-Man that came out 2 years ago, and people questioned just how much of a big game or how long Spider-Man Miles Morales is, and
But
that's supposed
maybe
to be
it's not coming
standalone.
out soon. Maybe it's coming out like the end of next year or something.
Maybe, and then of course, and then like with this is there's been rumors that there's some sort of Gears DLC story based, which because you were when I told you this earlier, you were like, oh, they've never done story DLC for Gears, and I'm like, they did for Gears 2 and for Gears 3, and you were like, okay, point taken, I didn't know that because you're like they've never done campaign DLC. I'm like, no, they did it for 2 and 3.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Just
I
go.
mean, it would be smart to have this DLC ready to go when Series X launches, considering you're upgrading the game, making it look at 4K 60 and ray tracing, and maybe people will go back to it. It'd probably be smart to have an update ready to go for that game that only has like a new operation, considering the multiplayer might be running at 120 frames, but then also some single player content to get people interested in checking it out again. That definitely would be very smart, considering there's no Halo Infinite anymore.
Yeah, but I feel like they would have announced that already. Surely, if
Well,
Gears, if Gears Five, if Gears 5 had DLC coming for the Xbox Series X launch, surely we'd know about it already.
true. And I was thinking like maybe they're with no Forza Horizon, like would it have been smart to have another DLC for Forza Horizon this year? Another expansion, maybe a bigger expansion than what the other two have been.
There's a lot of things about Xbox Game Studios that would have been smart to have done. It would have been smart to have put more money behind Minecraft Dungeons, because I think that blew up a lot bigger than they thought it was going to do. It would have been smart to have Forza Horizon DLC, like you say, ready for Xbox Series X launch. It would have been smart, Rand, to have had more faith in Grounded. I pushed Grounded a bit more because, man, that really blew up on streaming platforms and stuff like that. It's almost like, I don't know, some people in Microsoft's game portfolio management are a little bit out of touch.
Interesting. I remember back when Forza Horizon 3 and Gears 4 came out. They didn't really promote Forza Horizon 3 because they didn't think it would do well, and then eventually completely surprised them and did better than Gears 4. You remember that? And I always just thought it was like, how do you not know what you have? How do you not know what you like? I get like maybe a
Do you
game
not
surprises
know?
you or whatever, but like the fact that you were taken completely by surprise on the success of Forza Horizon 3 to the point where it completely surprised you. And then you're planning this new launch. These consoles are coming in 2020. I get like Halo Infinite's going to be the big boy. It's going to be what you're marketing at. But like, wouldn't it have been smart to like, hey, Gears 5 DLC and there's not going to be a Forza game. Forza Motorsport. We don't know it's coming in 2021. Maybe it's 2022. And Forza Horizon 5 might be even further away than that. And it's like, hey, if you're going to rely on Forza Horizon 4 and you're going to upgrade it, maybe have a new expansion. But then maybe they couldn't because, they're working on Fable or whatever, or they're helping out on some other things. But
How did nobody notice that Halo Infinite looked like a Lego game?
are we going to go down this path again, Jez? We already talked. We already talked about this last week.
Well, it's part of the whole problem. It's sometimes I really think.
To be fair, though, everybody says Marvel Avengers looks and plays way better than it did in the beta. Like, maybe not significantly, but just from the beta to the full release, it's a better looking, better performing game. I mean, pretty much that's like universal agreement on that. And that's from a beta that, was a month ago or what have you to a release that was this week. And this supposedly is what, like Halo Infinite build from May or whatever it was to the final release of the game at the end of the month. I mean, if Avengers could look a lot better and play better, then presumably Halo Infinite could have, well, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Jeez. Xbox Series S leaks again. You know what? We've been talking about the system for so long, and I'm sure it sounds like a broken record. Like I said in my last video, like first we have your reporting. Like, you got to shout you out because you were one of the first people who said there would be an Xbox lockout, right? And obviously that reporting has come true. Then, because of the looting that went on at a Best Buy in Chicago, someone was able to get their hands on a brand new controller, the one with the share button, and it had Xbox Series X, Series S printed in, the instructions, which, fair enough, that stuff wasn't supposed to be seen by us. Somebody wasn't supposed to get their hands on the brand new controller, but obviously you can't really predict this well in advance that there would be people looting Best Buys and Walmarts at this point in time, right? So fair enough, that I don't really put that one on Microsoft because those boxes weren't supposed to be opened before November 6th. I get that. But someone just bought a regular controller from Microsoft.com, and in the Game Pass thing, the fine print, it says, hey, Xbox Series X S. So it's like, wait a minute. So in one hand, I get for the other controller, nobody can buy those, but anybody can buy these from Microsoft and get it, and it says it right there. So you're already, it's like everybody knows the system's real at this point. You've officially confirmed it, unofficially confirmed it yourself with this. Like, it's time to announce the system. It really is. Like, I thought they could announce it this week. I said in my video, it could come as early as Thursday. And it might be this week, but it probably isn't. If I had to guess, I would imagine Microsoft is going to announce the Series X the week of the 14th. But, like, they change around when they plan on announcing this stuff all the time. So, just get it over with. You don't have to reveal pricing at this point if you're waiting for Sony to go first because you want to go second. Just announce the damn thing. Like, you obviously had planned on announcing it way beforehand because it's already printed on the inserts of the cards, right? Which means that you expected an official announcement of Series S when those cards went to print, which, judging by all the rumors, was originally supposed to be June as part of the now defunct Xbox 2020. Man, Xbox marketing really had some good Xbox 2020. You remember that, Jazz? Supposed to get monthly news about stuff. And, oh man, good ones.
Xbox 2020, the shortest marketing campaign of all time.
Like, I don't, like, what's the big deal? Just announce the system already. Everybody knows it's real. Nobody's going to be surprised. Like, the information's already out there. They're on cards that you made. Like, there's, I've seen people say, Jazz, that this doesn't mean the console exists. There's still some people out there that don't believe it's real. And I'm like, you really think Microsoft went out of their way and printed this shit if they were sure that the console wasn't coming out? Are you, what? Like,
I have no idea why they're doing this. This is the most leaked console in history. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's almost painful at this point, man. Microsoft's just torturing me. I've been leaking this thing for almost a year now. Just announce it. Like, even from back in the day, like even before Lockhart and that was announced, we wrote about how Project Scarlet refers to a family of consoles, not just one console, which was the first hint that Lockhart was a thing. And then we got the Lockhart code name. It's like, oh, what the hell is that? And then we saw Lockhart as a SKU in the code for the operating system. And that was pretty much it. It definitely, obviously exists. An extra console.
Yeah, and Microsoft just keeps on pushing back the announcements, and Sony keeps on supposedly pushing back their stuff, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I thought it was going to come this week. I thought it was already going to be announced. I thought, well, they'll announce it Thursday, and then, but I don't know. I don't think it'll be this week. I'm currently looking at the week of the 14th for them to maybe announce it at this point. But
yeah, I think there's something imminent for this month. I just don't know exactly when yet.
Well, they have to. I mean, they have to announce it. You have official packaging for Microsoft that people can literally buy in a store and elsewhere. It's starting to surface, so they can't ignore it for long. Plus, the freaking consoles are supposed to come out in 2 months, so I mean, they have to. It's one of those things where that has to be done. Xbox event, Jez. So people asked us about it. We had a couple of super chats. Microsoft also confirmed that they will be at the Tokyo Game Show, the first time in quite some time. They have a 50-minute presentation, and I guess to manage expectations, they literally told us what to expect. So you can expect a celebration of Japanese game creators. You can expect the latest updates coming to Microsoft Flight Sim on Xbox Game Pass for PC, Windows 10, and Steam, which is a weird place to talk about Microsoft Flight Sim, to me at least. Like, creativity from the Japanese Minecraft creator community, a review of first and third-party announcements from recent months, and no new next-gen news, which is kind of highlighted. No new next-gen news.
That is so weird. Like, why have such a long presentation if they're basically downplaying their own show? Why even bother? What's the point? Is it just to is it going to be specifically tailored to the Japanese audience, almost like an introduction to Xbox or something? I mean,
I don't know. Like, I don't know why you would even bother showing Microsoft Flight Sim there. Like,
or maybe they're gonna I don't know, showcase some Japanese jets or something, Japanese airports.
I mean, you would think they would go heavy onto Japanese games coming to the ecosystem through Game Pass that then you could stream through xCloud. Like, that's where Microsoft could make inroads in the Japanese market, is with Game Pass and xCloud, not with Microsoft Flight Sim. And I get managing expectations, because people, like, that was one of the complaints about the May show, was that they hyped it up, which they did. Like, I don't want to hear anybody from marketing say whatever, like, you hyped it up, because there was tweets from you guys like, tomorrow changes the game. Like, stop it. You hyped it up. You didn't manage people's expectations properly, and when they got what they got, people were like, this isn't a good first showing. Fine, fair enough. And then the game showcase thing, which you tried to manage expectations, and I think you did fairly well. It was just, hey, this is just about games, and that's what it was. This is nothing else. There's going to be no news, no business, no nothing. So nobody was expecting price. Nobody was expecting the Series S reveal. Nobody was expecting studio announcements. So, like, you managed it perfectly. I think people were just disappointed that Halo looked like Legos, as Jez said, right? Halo looked like Legos, and the rest of the announcements were CGI trailers. And here you go for, the next event, quote unquote, since July, and you're going to Japan, and it doesn't look like there's going to be anything noteworthy, and you're even telling people there's going to be no new next-gen news. Now, it's interesting that they used the word new, right? Because I thought, and I said in my video, which I had made that video before Microsoft had clarified what they were doing there, and I said what they could do was announce Series S and the pricing for these consoles before TGS, and then kind of reconfirm what the pricing would be for the Japanese market, and it wouldn't be new information. Because anything that's announced before them isn't new. And Microsoft, because why not just say no next-gen news? You kind of like qualify the statement by saying no new, implying like nothing brand new was going to be revealed at TGS, but something new could happen before then. So you could reveal Lockhart to the Japanese audience, but it wouldn't be a new thing because you had revealed it the week prior. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So now, of course, people just are kind of getting frustrated with that, and they want Series S to be revealed, and they want to get a peek at some gameplay running on Series X, and they want to know the prices. So I guess my question to you, Jez, is: do we get the announcement of Series S and the pricing of Series X and release date before TGS happens on September 24th?
I want to say yes, but you can never be sure with Microsoft these days.
Can never be sure. So do you think there's a possibility we could go into October without the reveal of Series S and without pricing on both sides, PS5 and Series X? You think it's possible you get into October and you don't know shit yet?
That's scary. That's a scary thought, man.
I
don't like that. I don't like that scary thought.
I think we get reveal of Series S soon. Like I said, I'm looking at the week of the 14th, and I want to imagine we get priced beforehand because it's starting to come out. There's going to be a lot of free Xbox Series X promotions that are going to be starting soon. The Pringles one, which is happening in Australia, which people are using as justification for the console being $600, just like they used for the Monster Energy drink promotion. That one's going on. There's also, what's funny, so they're using that one as proof of the system being 600, right? And not Australian, South African, alongside the Monster Energy one. But there's also a dollar store Chips Ahoy promotion where 5 people win and you get a controller in Series X, and it says on the thing estimated retail value of $560. But it's weird that the people propping up that the Series X is going to be $600 based on these giveaways or promotions don't mention this dollar store Chips Ahoy one that basically says the system is $499. You think that's interesting, Jez? Do you think those people have an agenda somehow?
Maybe.
And then, of course, there's the Taco Bell, the leaked Taco Bell promotion, which isn't really a surprise that Microsoft is going back with Taco Bell. This time, you just got to buy a medium or large drink, and you get a chance to win. It starts on the 24th, which is the same day Tokyo Game Show starts, and it ends on November 4th, Jez, which is 2 days before the 6th, which is the rumored release date of Series X, because those were the controllers were in the box. The box said do not display or sell before the 6th. This Taco Bell promotion ends on the 4th, so it's kind of lining up.
Black Friday?
Black Friday is the 27th, I believe.
Well, I've heard that Xbox Series X will definitely be out before Black Friday, so...
Well, 100%. I would imagine the PS5 will be out before the Black Friday as well. Like, I guess, I don't know. I'm looking at either the 6th or the 13th for Xbox, but here's the thing. If I was making a brand new console, I wouldn't sell my system on Friday the 13th. I'm not a superstitious person. I'm not, right? But just...
Do you believe in ghosts?
Do I believe in ghosts? In what manner? Like, do I believe in like ghosts, like Ghostbusters or something?
Yeah. Ghostbusters.
I don't know.
What, really?
I've never had an
You just
experience. I never had an
you
experience
just said
that
you
made
weren't
me.
superstitious.
I'm not. Look,
Rand Al Ghost.
I'm not superstitious, right?
Do you want to
But
be a Ghostbuster?
I mean, as a kid, yeah, hell yeah. Who didn't want to be a Ghostbuster, right? I'm just saying, I'm not a superstitious person. But if I was launching a new product, I wouldn't launch it on Friday the 13th. I'm just saying.
Why not?
I'm just saying I wouldn't.
If I was releasing it with the Medium as a launch title, I might.
Although Friday the 13th is when Call of Duty launches, so maybe the 13th would be a good, you get your system, you can play the new Call of Duty and stuff, right?
I mean, the whole reason Friday the 13th is even a spooky day is because of some movie. It's not even like an established spooky day in folklore.
Is that the reason why people? No. Well, 13th is supposed to be a Don't, Jazz. You go into a building here in the United States that's over 13 floors, and there's not a 13th floor. I don't know how many buildings I've worked in where you would ride up the elevator, it would go 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. It skips 13 on pretty much every building that's over that floor. Even though you can skip 13, the 14th floor is the 13th floor. It's just not labeled the 13th floor.
My opinion of Americans gets lower all the time.
Excuse me?
And what? Did I say that out loud? Well, Friday 13th is not spooky, man.
No,
I would totally release a console on Friday the 13th.
But the 13th is a superstitious number. Like I said, like the building numbers, the floor 13th, it's not there in buildings, Jez.
Well, so it's because of that dumb movie, Friday the 13th.
Noob Sabad says Rand isn't superstitious, but he's a little stituous.
Randall, bloody man, my computer froze up there. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, you are superstitious, man.
Not really.
What? You're scared of ghosts?
I'm not. When did I ever say I was scared of ghosts? I'm not scared of ghosts.
You just said you were scared of ghosts.
I said I don't really think they're real. I've never had.
But you don't sound very sure.
Well, I mean, how could you be sure about anything? A supernatural. How can I be sure? I don't know.
You're saying you're ghost gnostic.
Yes, yes, that would be a good way of saying it.
Do you watch those American TV shows where they go into the haunted house with like GoPro cameras and stuff?
Yeah, I've seen some of those shows. 100%, yeah. Someone says you're
okay. The irrational fear of number 13 has a scientific name.
What is it?
Man, I can't even pronounce that. Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia is the fear of Friday the 13th. That's what you've got.
I don't have a fear of Friday the 13th.
You've got fear of Friday the 13th. You've got triskaidekaphobia. According to folklore historian Donald Dossey, the unlucky nature of number 13 originated with a Norse myth about 12 gods having a dinner party in Valhalla. The trickster god Loki was not invited and arrived as the 13th guest, and arranged for two people to shoot each other with a mistletoe-tipped arrow. So now the number 13 is considered unlucky because of the Vikings. There you go. There's some history for you.
I'm just going to say Series X either comes out the 6th or the 13th, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the 6th, maybe it's PS5 comes out the 13th or the 20th. But I would imagine both consoles will be out before the 27th of Black Friday. So, Retro Gamer says, have you heard anything about a Halo Infinite edition of Series X? Loving the channel and podcast from the UK. Keep it up, Filmic. I haven't heard anything about a Halo Infinite edition of Series X, but now that it's delayed to 2021, maybe they could put that in the game plan, man. I don't think there would have been one for the launch of the system, but now especially if the game's delayed a year. Like if Halo Infinite's delayed to holiday 2021, I would imagine there's going to be a limited edition Halo Infinite Series X.
Well, they can do it now, right? Even if they weren't going to do it this year, surely with the delay, they can get a silver lining out of it with some sort of cool, cool custom design and stuff.
Yeah. Tony Stark, RDX, says, hey, release the console on Friday the 13th and make a special Michael Myers edition. Yeah. I mean, we'd have to hire Xbox Pope to do that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
RDX, Devin Noonan's...
No, Friday the 13th isn't Michael Myers. It's Jason.
Yeah, Michael Myers is Halloween. RDX Devin Nunes Cow says, Review Tech is calling for Series X to be delayed.
That's just dumb.
I have seen some of his videos. I usually like Rich's content. A couple of his videos lately have been he's been wrong about some stuff. So he's basically look, I'm not hating on anybody's hustle. Make videos, get the views, get them clicks, as they say. And he's definitely playing next gen, like any sort of small information about anything. He makes a 5-minute video about it. Oh, I'm really frustrated that Xbox hasn't dropped any information. 5-minute video. The next day, these consoles should be delayed. Like any little morsel about anything. I think he's done like 10 price leak videos, whether it's about Xbox or about PlayStation, right? So,
to be fair, he was the first person who tweeted that there was going to be new leadership at 343 about a couple of hours before Jason Schreier announced about Joseph Staten.
Yeah. Chase says, confirm God of War 2 the 13th.
We got some breaking news.
Oh, we do? We have breaking news? What is it?
Oh, never mind. It's not breaking news.
Oh.
I misread it. I read that Fortnite player base drops by 60% amid fight with Apple. But it actually says Fortnite iOS player base drops by 60%.
Oh. RDX...
Well, no surprise there.
Devin says, hey, exactly. Him and Modern Vintage Gamer are out to lunch. Hey, MVG is pretty sweet. He's a cool dude. I've talked to him quite a bit. MVG is a good guy. I've never spoken to Rich. I can only judge him on what he's said in his videos. I just know that it's his job. Like YouTube's his job. So he takes any little morsel and he just plays the algorithm game. People are looking for Xbox and PlayStation stuff. So any sort of small information he'll make a video about.
I think as well, like some people sometimes tell him things and they're kind of like halfly true. That's not a word. I'm getting tired now because I'm making up words. Halfly.
Yeah.
That's not even a word. Oh my god.
Spitfire Spud says, what do you think of Exo Mecha and that being a console exclusive? Also, what about Black Myth? That would be a great console exclusive. I don't really have much to say about Exo Mecha. That's that console game that's free to play that was shown off in Jeff Keighley's pre-show.
I don't think it looked that good, to be honest. I'll be straight up. I think like the Xbox Global Publishing has been pretty weak this year. Like, there's like a couple of good ones, like The Medium, for example, but pretty much all of those games they showed off at that event, like, I wasn't that impressed with. They should like get Shannon Loftus back.
Bring Shannon Loftus back? Isn't she in charge of World's Edge? And for the record, people are saying when I said MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer, some people thought I was talking and saying that I like MBG. No, I actually like people that know what they're talking about. So I like MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer, not the other guy. So yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the other topics we have here, and I think we've pretty much covered everything. So, I want to thank everybody for coming to the show. we'll take a couple questions. I know Jez is getting a little tired, and I got a couple things I need to get done here right after the show. So if you got any questions, hit us up in chat. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So, if you want to be notified every single time we do the podcast or any of the videos, you can follow me and Jez on Twitter. All the, information's in the description or on the screen. And, thanks for being here on this Saturday. Hopefully we'll be back regular on Friday with more interesting things to talk about. Who knows what's going to happen this upcoming week. So, we got a question from East Coast that says, if I was Phil, I would look into Studio Rocket Boy Games, making the game everywhere. Huge talent there, can compete with Rockstar. There's not many studios that can compete with Rockstar. I'll just say that. And Studio Rocket Boy, I've never even heard of them. Have you?
Nope.
Yeah, so if I haven't heard of that studio, I doubt they can compete with Rockstar. So, let's see, any more questions? Ermi says, Jazzrand, why no news on more keyboard and mouse games? Has the games list been updated like forever? Yeah, what's going on with keyboard and mouse on Series X? They made a big deal out of it. They even had a partnership with Razer, and nothing, huh?
I have no idea. I think they just sort of they realized that changing console gamers' habits would probably be like more work than it's worth. And at the same time, it's like getting developers to care. It's a chicken and egg thing. Like getting developers to care about keyboard and mouse on console when there's no users there is hard. And getting users to play games with keyboard and mouse when there's no games there is hard. It's a chicken and egg thing. So I think like until Microsoft starts making an effort with its own games to support keyboard and mouse, like Wasteland 3 or Pillars or Gears Tactics and all that stuff, get those games supporting keyboard and mouse on Xbox, there ain't no way third parties are going to do it. So basically, the ball's in Microsoft's court and Xbox's court. If you want Xbox to support mouse and keyboard more, you need to, pester, the team at Xbox on Twitter and stuff, because it has to come from them. They have to like show the way first to get people to do it. And if they're not going to do that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly what Jez says. I mean, I'm not interested in keyboard and mouse on PC anyways, so whatever. Stodgy Caesar says, Crossfire X was supposed to release this year. Launch title? I would imagine with Halo getting moved, Crossfire X with the multiplayer and the campaign would probably be a good, like, if they were planning on releasing, I guess what I'm saying, if Crossfire X was planning on, say, releasing in September or October, maybe it would be a good idea to delay it to the launch of the Series X, considering Halo's gone. And maybe that's exactly what happened, because we did have that beta not that long ago. So maybe it has kind of been pushed more to the release of Series X. What do you think, Jez?
Sorry, I was just drinking some cola. I have no idea. I haven't really been following Crossfire at all. It's not really my kind of game. Although I will say that I did see them playing the campaign behind closed doors, and the story actually looked a lot more interesting than I expected. But I have no idea on launch timing. I suppose it's another one of them that's sort of difficult to gauge because of COVID and all that sort of stuff. But man, it just comes back to how frustrating it is, how like little information there is about what's actually coming to Xbox Series X.
Yeah. Marlesco, he says, I just lost it. He says, do you think there'll be a day one edition Series X? There was a day one edition for Scorpio, Xbox One X, and there was day one editions for the Xbox One that kind of came with the day one controller. It was a little icon in the middle of the controller, as well as like an achievement. So do you think we'll get a day one edition Series X, Jez? You would think so. But I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't look like we are going to get one. Yeah, but again, could be wrong. It could be another one of them, we don't know until we know sort of things.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
Greek
anything, so
Strawberry says, "Are we getting an event with the rest of Xbox Studios games?" I would probably say no. We might get a presentation when Microsoft wants to reveal Series S and price and release date, but I don't think suddenly you'll have a game showcase that features the studios that Microsoft didn't show, like the initiative and the coalition or compulsion. I don't think it'll be something like that. No, not until next year at least, right?
I don't know, man, because don't they have that whole XO event and also the Game Awards? I think there's a good chance we could see some more meat from Xbox Game Studios this year. I really do think that's possible.
Hmm. Let's see here. Jay Slayer says, Rand, do you think Xbox will announce making a Japanese studio at TGS? Well, I mean, they've been pretty upfront about what they're going to be showcasing and talking about at Tokyo Game Show. And it doesn't look like there was a studio on that list, so I would just kind of take what Microsoft says and just think that, yeah, there won't be a new Japanese studio, even though Phil's...
I think what TGS is going to be, it's going to be a big ad for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate in Japan. It's going to be a reintroduction maybe to the brand in Japan, because what isn't new news to us is probably going to be first time news to a lot of the Japanese gamers out there, because Xbox just doesn't exist in Japan. Hopefully this is like the first of more attempts to actually break into Japan, and through, I guess they want to market xCloud. That's basically what this is going to be about. So hopefully that means we'll get some splash over Japanese indie games announced at the show, some RPGs and stuff, because you have to assume like visual novels and turn-based RPGs, JRPGs are going to be great Game Pass fodder for xCloud. So, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, baby.
B Water, my friend, says, "Hey Rand, people criticize Xbox Series X Halo Infinite pop-ins when Cyberpunk 2077 had them too in the Nomad desert drive scenes with the 2080 Ti. Hypocritical."
Yeah, but Halo also looks like a Lego game, so.
I don't think I've seen that Cyberpunk section, so I have no idea what you're talking about here. So
I think the thing is, like, people who criticize Halo aggressively probably just have like an agenda anyway. So like they're probably just ignoring the Cyberpunk thing because they have an agenda and they know they're hypocrites, but they do it anyway. Or maybe they just think, like me, Cyberpunk is a more visually impressive game than Halo Infinite. So maybe you should have higher expectations for Halo Infinite's performance when it looks the way it does. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think with that, we're going to end the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in on this Saturday. Sorry we couldn't do it on the regular day. I know probably a lot of people missed the show. And we'll be back next week. Jez, you got anything to add before we get out of here?
Stay awesome to each other and stay safe. And thanks for being cool and saying hi.
Yeah. Make sure you guys send Jez some nice messages, because he definitely needs to. He needs some positive vibes right now. So,
yeah, if I'm touchy and sensitive, it's just because I'm in pain, man. It's hard being in pain like all the time.
Yeah.
So.
And with that said, have a good weekend, guys. Keep it gaming, and we'll see you in a week from now for the next Xbox 2 podcast. Later. Have a good one.